Hey guys, Marshall here with Marshall's Guitar Lessons, and in this video we're going to talk a little bit about capos. We're going to talk about how they're used and how to use them. So let's grab a guitar and a capo and get to it. Alrighty, so before we dive into capos and how they work, we have to understand and really discuss what this little piece of plastic is right here. This is called the nut. Every guitar, electric guitar and acoustic guitar, has one. And it's kind of abstract to think about, but the nut is effectively fret number 0 on the guitar. So if this is fret number 1, this would be fret number 0. And it's kind of nifty because you don't even have to use your left hand to play frets number 0. You just play the open string. And the notes which the nut is fretting for us are from the lowest string to the highest string, E, A, D, G, B, E, when you're in standard tuning. So when you very first learn how to play open chords or country chords or whatever you want to call them, you'll learn, G, you'll learn D, you'll learn C, and A, and E. But then you kind of hit a wall. I mean, you can only play so many chords down at this end of the neck. You want to start learning how to play chords higher up. Well, guitarists are inherently pretty lazy, and they want to learn how to play new chords but use the exact same shapes. So they want to be able to use, let's say, G, for instance, to play G sharp, because it's just easier that way. You only have to learn one chord shape. So what they did is they created what's called a capo. This is a super old capo. This one I think I bought in 2008. It's a Kaiser brand, so obviously, it's 8 years old now, and it's lasted quite a while. It's played a lot of songs. And the capo is used to basically move the nut. And if you can move the nut to a higher range on the instrument, then you can effectively change the chords that you're playing while using the same chord shapes. So let me show you how that works. So this is a super easy one. Let's just go to the very first fret. So when we put the capo on the first fret, what we've done is we've moved the nut now up 1/2 step. And I'll post a link down at the bottom which goes over the musical alphabet as a review. But basically, because we've moved up all the notes a 1/2 step, we're now playing on the low E string the note F. On the A string, now the note is A sharp. On the D string, the note is now D sharp. On the G string, the note is now G sharp. On the B string, the note is now C. And on the high E string, the note is now F. So what we've done is we've moved all the notes up a 1/2 step. Well, how does that translate over to chords then, you're probably asking? Well, before we would play G right here, but now that the nut's been moved up by putting the capo on, we now play a G right here. But you notice by listening that's a higher chord that I just played. Well, this is actually G sharp. And the reason why it's G sharp is because we've taken all the same notes that were in G, but we've moved them all up a 1/2 step. So we've taken the same distances between the nut and each individual note, but we just move that up by a 1/2 step. And this concept works all the way up the entire neck, as high as you can possibly go. So if you're to move it to the next fret, then it would move all of those notes up one more 1/2 step, and therefore raise the chord by 1/2 step. So now, instead of playing G sharp, you're playing A. You're playing A, but you're using a G shape. Pretty nifty, huh? So this can be used for all sorts of different things. Let's say you're a singer and you just have a very high voice, you have a very high range. Well, maybe the song was originally written in the key of G, but you have such a high voice that you want to use those same chords because they're easy to remember, but you want to play it in the key of A, let's say. Well, it's easy. If the chord is G, then if you move it up, all the chords up a 1/2 step, now G sharp, moved up once more, and now it's A. So this is super handy for people who sing and also play guitar. Another kind of interesting thing to note is if you're a male singer, or if you're a baritone or a bass singer, you sing in a lower register or a lower register, and it's kind of counterintuitive to think about, but sometimes if you raise the key but just sing an octave lower, it actually sounds pretty great. This is what James Taylor, for instance, does. He's a baritone singer, and he plays with the capo all the time. And most of his songs, he actually plays with the capo. And the reason why is, to the listener's ear, if you have a low voice, they don't want to hear low guitar notes as well. You want to have some contrast. So if you're a low bassy singer, it's good to have the chords a little bit higher up. It adds that other dimension where there's something sitting on top of the strong foundation, which would be your voice. So that's a couple different ways to use the capo. You can use it to change keys. You can use it when you're a singer and you have a higher voice. So that's the capo. Hope you guys found this video interesting and exciting. If you guys liked it, remember to like the video, comment, and subscribe. I have a lot more videos similar to these coming out. And hope you guys enjoy this lesson on the capo, and I hope you guys can all put it to good use. So thanks again.